guys, it's Maymay, and I have an idea, and I was going to try it, and I thought I'll take you along with me. I don't think it's an original idea. I think it's been done before, but I've never tried it, so I thought we would do it together and see if I can give you any tips and tricks. So this is an embossing folder that we have that I love. It's the bunny one, and we've used it for a project before, but it is perfect for what I'm wanting to do. All right, I'm going to emboss this bunny, and I want it to be in this direction, which I think is going to leave me with the embossed side facing up, which is what I want. I want the lines that are going to face up on the front of my cards. You know, embossing gives you a debossed and an embossed, and you can pick which side you like, but I want the lines to be facing up. So when you have a image like this where that matters, you want to pay attention to that before you put it into your embossing machine. All right, this is the Cuttlebug. I'm going to use my A and B plate. No magnetic plate this time. And then another B plate on top of the folder. Then I'm going to run that through and emboss. And I'm going to go ahead while we got this guy out and emboss the black piece too. So I'm going to do this in 2 colors. By the way, I'm going to heat emboss on here. I think it's going to be pretty if it works like I want it to. So see how that's raised on this side and then it's in on this one? That's why it's important. I want the raised side up. So you want to pay attention to that. Again, only when your embossing folder has like a pattern to it or a way it needs to go. If it's just a repeating pattern, it won't matter because you can just flip the page over. All right, so I'm going to put the black one in there and emboss it as well. Now, there's a reason I'm not inking directly on my folder. I'm going to show you in a second how we're going to ink this. I'm not going directly onto the folder because I want it to be raised off the page, the part that I'm going to emboss. And in order to ink that section, it's pushing from the bottom of the card, remember? Because we're pushing the lines up, right? If I were to ink it, I would ink this section, which means I would be inking all the negative space, and I don't want to do that. I want to work on this positive space. So let me show you what, we always want to be in a positive space, but let me show you what my plan is for that. Okay, these little guys, I'm going to get me some scrap paper, and I'm going to heat emboss, and we're going to have to get real heavy-handed with our powder tool. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring both of mine over because I don't know which one's going to work the best. And I'm going to start with the black one because I think we'll be able to visually see the results better with that one. So my plan is to ink drag my Versamark ink on top of this and hope that it only sticks to the raised area, okay? But I'm going to powder everything else really well so that any embossing powder that is astray from where I want it to go is not going to stick except on those raised lines. That's my hope. We're going to see. I thought I'd bring you along. The thing is, even if it does stick somewhere else, it'll probably still look pretty cool. And I'm using this one that the powder actually kind of drips out of because I thought I could get down into those little nooks and crannies better with it. Because that's really where I'm wanting to protect our inside of those little areas. Okay, the other thing I think I need to do, this is not quite as flat as I think it needs to be. There we go. I think that's better. Get where my fingers have been. Okay, now we're going to attempt this. I'm going to try to drag this ink as flat as I can over this image. That's not bad. I'm having to just drag the image, okay? I'm not pressing. This is a squishy pad. If you press, it's going to leave marks where we might not want it. So just drag right over the image, just barely touching. And the cool thing is, I can kind of see where that ink is going because it's wiping the powder away where it is, if that makes sense, wherever I'm putting it. Now, I'm noticing it here. So I think what I'm going to do is see what happens if I go back and powder on top of it. Maybe that will keep my powder from sticking where I don't want it to. Okay, let's get some embossing powder. Let's use gold on this black. I think that'll be pretty for Easter. And pick this card up. Tap this down. Now, I'm not expecting full coverage. I'm thinking this is probably going to give me kind of a rustic look or a distressed look, which I'm actually okay with. But that's kind of cool, y'all. Look at that. And see how I kind of don't mind that little section? Let me tap this really well. I'm going to blow it off. Okay, so there's just a couple of little sections here that I'm not in love with that I really didn't want to be there. So here's what I'm going to do. Right here at my hand, for one, just taking a brush and I'm just going to tap it and then blow it. So I'm just kind of getting that alpha there. I'm going to do it off screen so I don't blow that all off of my work surface. Now that is not the worst. I don't think I'm going to get this perfectly solid image when we heat it, but we're going to see what we get. I still think it's kind of cool. It reminds me of the ink dragon we did with the Distress inks, the minis. We've done that on my channel lots of times because I love that technique, but it's using kind of the, you know, the pretty embossing powder. All right, let's heat this. Remember, the best tip I can give you for heating things is to preheat your tool. So I'm going to preheat this for 30 seconds to a minute. So there it is. Look at this image. It is not perfect, but it is beautiful. I want to show you something else. See in this area where that flower didn't get, well, let me zoom you in because I don't think you can see it. So one thing I want to show you is, see right here, this little flower kind of missed some. I'm going to use my Emboss It pen. This is one by Ranger that's got the same kind of clear ink that Versamark pad has. I'm just going to color that. Now, you could totally color the entire thing with this pen, you know, all of the raised images, but anywhere that I want there to be more that I see didn't do exactly, and I'm not going to go crazy with it, honestly, because I kind of like the distress look of it. It's kind of cool. But right there, it kind of missed, and I think the top of this bunny's head could use a little bit more. And so I'm just going to repowder that and then reheat that and see what we get. Look how pretty that is. I think that is gorgeous. Now I'm going to do something that might freak you guys out, but I'm taking a wet wipe, okay? And I'm going to go over this and clean the powder off of this bunny with this wet wipe. Yes, my paper is going to start to curl, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do to stop that. I'm going to put a book on it so that as it dries, it will flatten back out. And in just a few minutes, I will bring it back out and show you what it looks like. But to me, this really brings the black back and makes it so pretty. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to use a book. I'm going to use this dude, and I'm going to set it off screen over here. Use this magnetic plate. I'll set it on there, and then I'm going to set this on top and see how flat that is now. See that? I'm going to set that off to the side while we work on the white one. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. Okay, the white one. Same deal. We're going to do exactly the same thing, but I'm going to use a colored embossing powder on it. So here it is. This one's not going to be as hard to me because I can not have to clean it off as much. So I'm going to use this same brush to get into all those creases and crevices. Just like so. The same little powder tool. And I bet somebody's going to ask me, but we do carry these on our website, so we do have these. But I tell you what, since I'm doing this white and I can't see this one like I could the black, I'm going to use my powder puff as well, so I can tap that on. And some of you guys have asked me how you can make this powder puff at home. This is just a little pocket of like t-shirt knit, and maybe fill it with some cornstarch, and you could have the same thing. But I love that little powder tool. All right, we're going to do the same thing we just did. I feel like this one needs to curve out a little bit as well. So lay that one like that. And let me pick my powder first. Let's see. I'm going to use these Nuvo colors. I'm going to use silver because if I like this, I might go back and color in like we did before with this image. So I'm going to use the silver. All right, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it down, just touching the bunny, trying to stay off of the solid parts of the page. This one I can't see as well, so I'm just making sure that I'm hitting all of those raised areas. And again, if I don't, I can come back with that pen and I can touch up. Now, I feel like I'm getting heavier handed with this because it's white and I can't see all the spaces that it might be going. So just as a precaution, I'm going to come back over here and touch up a little bit. And over here where my fingers were, just to be safe. All right, let's pour some silver on it. Now I can see lots of spaces on this one where I was not as heavy-handed. Up here where I was trying to be careful, I can see that in some other places as well. So what I'm going to do is heat this and then go back with my pen and touch it up. So here it is so far, and I have to be honest, I kind of think the silver with the distress look is absolutely gorgeous on this white card. But just to show you that if you don't want the distress look, you can get rid of that by using your little embossing pen. I'm going to come back up here where there was no powder, where I can see I mean not powder, but where I can see I clearly missed the ink, and just do some touch up. Not everywhere. Again, I'm going to do it much like I did the last one. Just kind of get in here and get that colored in. But I gotta tell y'all, this is kind of a super cool thing for me. I know it's probably not groundbreaking. Somebody's probably done it, but I've never looked online to see, but I thought, you know what? I want to try it and see what it does for me. A couple more spots. Just here and there. Nowhere major, really. Just little places. All right, let's put some more powder on. I think that is so pretty. See how it's just embossed where it's raised up. I think in the spring is a great time for this, but can you imagine this technique in the fall with all of our like pumpkins and things like that with these beautiful golds and browns and orange colored embossing? I think it's gorgeous. I think I'm going to turn this into a card really quick and let's see what we get. So I'm going to use a black card base, which is totally not traditional for Easter, but I think this silver and this blue together on that black are really going to pop. But before I do anything, I want to round the corners. Now, I cut this blue piece to be just a 1/16 of an inch larger than my bunny piece. My bunny piece is just a standard 4 by 5 1/4 piece to fit on the front of an A2 size card. And this is going to fit almost perfectly there. So these will just have a little thin border of blue. And I thought that would really help the silver to pop. Now, can you imagine how pretty this would be if you took the time to color this bunny inside of that embossing? Oh my goodness, I think it would be gorgeous. Look how pretty that blue is. The blue just really makes this pop and shimmer. I'm going to glue that straight down. And I've decided to glue this one straight down as well. You can only see the tiniest bit of the black showing, but look how pretty that is. I just love that. It needs a sentiment and all that good stuff, but I wanted to show you how you can make a quick card. Oh, that is gorgeous. I bet you thought I forgot about the black one we made. Let me put my pen back in my glue and we will pull that out. So here it is. I'm going to open it up. Look how flat it is. No problem. And it does have some lint on it, but I can wipe that away really quick. Just like that. And at least my paper is back to more black than being gray here. Just look how gorgeous those are. This is going to make a beautiful card as well. I don't know what I'm going to put it on yet. I'm going to save it. So there you go. If you try this technique, I want to see it. I think it is fun to try stuff like this. Share it with us over on our Facebook group called Maymay Made It, and so did I. Or put it in our customer gallery on our webpage. Also, Thursday's live show. We are planning to come to you live from Made It Con. That is our plan. We're hoping that can happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we won't have a Thursday show. If for some reason we can't sign on, I think we can. There's Wi-Fi and hotspots. But if it doesn't happen, I'll see you Saturday where I'll have a filmed video for you. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your week. Talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.